Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
And I'm $2.99 a minute.
Welcome to episode 375, Road Wild 1999.
It'll take more than that attitude to ride out of here. The soundtrack of the fucking show.
So this is the fourth and final Road Wild, produced by WCW.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah. It took place on August 14th, 1999, from the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in Sturgis, South Dakota, with an attendance of 5,500 people and a buy rate of 235,000 people.
Sure, sounds about right. I mean, 5,000 people makes sense because we're not in a stadium. Everybody's
there
just...
was no tickets.
There was no tickets. People were just standing outside.
Yeah. But something that would happen right around the same time as Road Wild. The movie theaters were full of new films this previous weekend. Iron Giant.
Banger.
Mystery Men.
Banger.
Sixth Sense.
Banger.
And Thomas Crown Affair.
Banger. Like, these are all incredibly watchable, rewatchable movies. And you have something for everybody here.
Yes.
And I would argue that it's something for everybody, but none of these are for any particular type of person. They're just all very enjoyable.
I mean, obviously, Iron Giant, your animation.
Yep.
Is it your favorite animated movie of all time?
No, but I love it. My favorite animated movie of all time is a difficult question. Off the top of my head, because it's a comfort watch for me, I think of Kiki's Delivery Service, just because like it's a movie I turn on. I know it's not the best, and then Akira is like a thing I adore. I guess so many of the Miyazaki films, but Iron Giant might be my favorite American animated kids movie.
I mean, it's definitely up there for me as well.
There's ones that I loved as a kid that I haven't watched again as an adult, so I can't really speak to them too much because it's like, oh, I loved Sword in the Stone as a child, but I know that was not like a big hit or a well-loved Disney movie. It was just one that I liked a lot as a kid. And then of course, Aladdin. I mean, I loved Toy Story 2, but that I don't count that. I don't count anything. I mean, it's still animated, but it's like we got to talk about hand animation here. And Iron Giant might be one of the last great ones to come out.
Yeah, I mean,
there's been good stuff. I even like The Princess and the Frog, but it's not like a classic. It's just an enjoyable movie, and I appreciated that it was hand-drawn.
I mean, Iron Giant, it's definitely in my top 5 animated movies of all time. And, like you said, it might be one of the last hand-drawn ones that is just
great.
Also,
it's one of those things that Disney movies kind of have a template, whereas the Iron Giant, it just feels a little bit more grounded in like actual human emotion, as opposed to this one plays for adults and kids.
It's Brad Bird.
Yeah, I guess Heavy Metal might be one of my favorite animated movies, but if we're talking for ones for kids, because I do love adult animated movies, I love a little bit of trash.
Actually, I just realized the other day. Do you remember the Simpsons episode Krusty Gets Busted? Basically where, he's framed for robbing Abu, but it's actually Sideshow Bob to, get him out of the picture so Sideshow Bob can become
he wants to usurp his position.
It's a season 1 episode of The Simpsons, so it's super early, but it's literally one of the best episodes. But Brad Bird was the director of that episode.
Nice. Season 1 of The Simpsons, one of those things where it's like they're not quite there yet, but there is gems. But I imagine that one was later in the season.
But yeah, this Iron Giant was actually Brad Bird's first feature.
Yeah.
Obviously going on to do Incredibles and Ratatouille. And moving on to live action with Mission Impossible.
And that was that big bomb that no one saw? Tomorrowland. Did you see Tomorrowland?
I did see Tomorrowland. It was not good.
Yeah. Just a shame because he was on quite a roll.
Yeah. And it completely killed his career because the only thing he's done since then directing-wise is Incredibles 2, which...
is good.
Is okay. I know he has another animated film coming out this year called Ray Gun.
Through Pixar?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be better than most of the Pixar output as of late, because I don't think I've liked any of them shits. I did like the Fish Kid movie. I liked Luca.
That one was fun. Yeah.
I didn't like any of the other ones I've seen since then, but I don't know which ones I've seen and which ones I didn't.
We also got Mystery Men, which just a collection of indie comedian darlings from this time. You know, Ben Stiller, Janeane Garofalo, William Macy, Hank Azaria, Paul Rubens, Kel Mitchell, Greg Spears in it.
Watched this movie so much as a kid, and I think that it holds up pretty well as a fun, silly movie. It's very stylized. There's some like weird holes in it, but I think that it is still funny. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is that it's a comic book movie.
Yeah, but it's not based off.
It's a comedy first, though.
Yeah, it's based off a comic book that nobody ever read. It was like a thing where they was like, oh, I don't even know how much it actually resembles the source material. Similar to like The Mask or, where it's like, I guess The Mask was a bigger comic, but it's not like, The Mystery Men was not like The Crow, where it was like this huge phenomenon comic book. This is just a comic book that like you probably couldn't find today if you wanted.
I mean, you do know what comic book it was?
I don't know if it was called The Mystery Men or not.
It wasn't. It was The Flaming Carrot.
Yeah.
Was what it was. And the Mystery Men were the supporting cast for The Flaming Carrot.
Yeah.
And so Captain Amazing, who was Greg Kinnear, was actually a replacement for the main character because thought it would be too bizarre to bring a carrot to the screens. Yeah. Sixth Sense, to me, this movie, like, it's fantastic on the first watch.
Yeah.
And then once you know the twist, it's even better.
Yeah, but then after that, you're kind of like, okay. But it is probably still the best thing Shyamalan's done.
It's the best thing he's ever done.
Because I love him. I love seeing even his new movies because this is going to sound rude, but I think the man's an idiot and he just got lucky with this one because most of his movies are dumber than dog shit, but I still appreciate how earnest they are. And I think that
and they're all original ideas.
Yeah, and
other than
like
Avatar.
Old. It's based off a comic, I think.
Was it?
I think so.
Maybe it was a French comic of some sort.
Probably. But either way, I mean this lovingly, but I think that M. Night Shyamalan is an idiot that thinks he's clever, and I find that charming. So even when I go see his movies and they're really bad, I am charmed by them as opposed to annoyed by them. And my friends have gotten very mad at me for having this opinion, but I think that they're a good time, and the dumber they are, the more fun I have.
I mean, I'm the person that I see, M. Night has a new movie coming out. I'm there opening weekend.
I'll go see it. And I don't like most of them. It's a weird thing. It's kind of like, I don't know, if somebody offers you ice cream, but it's a flavor you don't like, but you're like, well, I don't know, I kind of got a sweet tooth, so you eat it anyway. That's kind of M. Night Shyamalan movies to me, where it's like, you know what, the fact that this guy just cranks them out, similar to like Stephen King, who I also find to be like, he has some great books, but he's craps out so much junk that's annoying and stupid, but people love it. And I think that people don't give Stephen King a bunch of rope, but they don't give M. Night a bunch of rope. Because I don't think that either of them, I think that people tell you you're great and then you just believe it. And you have a name, so people keep showing up. Yeah. Although Stephen King, much more successful. Yeah. But, two guys that I think are kind of generally fools that are successful for good reason, but they've also just like dropped steaming turds.
And last but not least, the Thomas Crown Affair.
This is fun. This is a fun movie. I love that stupid briefcase.
Do you think this movie would be as good as it was if not for Pierce Brosnan having played James Bond?
I would say this is better than any of Pierce Brosnan's James Bond movies.
I mean, yes, but having that mindset kind of that he was James Bond going into the movie.
I think it's helpful, but wasn't he on a show where he wore a suit and was charming?
I mean, he was Remington Steele.
Yeah, Remington Steele. I've never watched it, but it was like...
So, I mean, he's basically made a career of playing this kind of character.
Yeah. But this is... Remington Steele's like 15 years before this, so like if it came out of nowhere, it would be weird. But he's James Bond, so I don't think this movie gets made without him as the lead previously playing James Bond.
Yeah. I mean, it is a remake of a Steve McQueen, Faye Dunaway film. And actually, I just found out that there's another remake coming.
Oh, Michael B. Jordan?
Michael B. Jordan
I heard about
and
that.
Adria Arjona. Is that how you say her name?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
From, she's been in Morbius, and she was just in Andor. She was one of the characters in Andor.
Yeah, two things I haven't seen. But
I think she just got hired to be in the new Superman movie as well. People are thinking maybe she's the new Wonder Woman, but not positive yet. They haven't announced what character she's playing.
All right, so she's an up-and-comer.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Who directed the remake? It's
John McTiernan.
Oh,
from Die Hard fan.
That's why I've seen this movie. Yeah, this is McTiernan before he really shits the bed at the end of his career.
Yeah, I remember... I mean, it was McTiernan, who obviously loved his other action movies. Brosnan was just coming off of being Bond, and I love Bond. But then Rene Russo also, like, she had just been in The Line of Fire and, like, Ransom and Get Shorty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And was really...
Also, this movie
was really loving her
is
as well.
Kind of James Bond meets Ocean's 11. But it's just one guy, and then you add a major like romance into it, so it plays for the entire family. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a cool, very watchable movie that I think doesn't get remembered as fondly as maybe it deserves.
No, it doesn't. It's definitely the underappreciated one of this foursome.
Yeah,
the most.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much rope you have with a comedy as goofy as The Mystery Men. And by the way, we're setting the record straight here. All Star, the Smash Mouth song, is from The Mystery Men. It's not from Shrek. This comes out a couple years before Shrek.
It's true.
It's where the song was. The music video for All Star had clips of Mystery Men in it.
That is true.
So, fuck you, Shrek.
I mean, Shrek would have fit right in with The Mystery Men.
Yeah, he probably would have.
But if you're looking for a fun film to watch, any of these four, or do a quadruple feature.
I mean, they all go down smooth, and they're all a different flavor of ice cream.
Well, let's talk some Road Wild 1999. We start with a video package showing highlights from the past few weeks, including Hogan stating he's the champ now, and at Sturgis, he's going to kick Nash's butt, but that he's changed his act before using a chair on Rick Steiner and Sid Vicious to help Sting. Big Sexy would attack Hulk, delivering a power bomb through the announce booth, bringing Hollywood to make the match versus Nash, career versus title, while also returning to the red and yellow. We then get air footage of Sturgis as Tony Schiavone welcomes us to the show, joined by Bobby the Brain Heenan and Mike Tenay, while motorcycles rev their engines. And our announcers discuss the matches we'll see tonight before sending it to a video package over our next match, where we see Vampiro and Konnan battling on Nitro, forming new groups with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero joining their hermano, when Raven and the Insane Clown Posse would come out to beat them all down. Kidman would also be recruited by the Canadian Vampire, but would side with his former tag partner to even the odds. So that takes us to our first match. The Deadpool of Vampiro and the Insane Clown Posse of Shaggy, Too Dope, and Violent J.
Whoop whoop.
With Raven versus Eddie Guerrero, Kidman, and Rey Mysterio Jr.
How fucked is it that Vampiro and the Insane Clown Posse are in a tag match with Raven? He's not wrestling, but ICP are wrestling. And Raven's just chilling on the side. Yeah. Guess Raven had a quick run here in WCW. But who knows? Maybe ICP won't stick around and Raven will get his spot back.
And we haven't seen ICP since WWF Monday Night Raw, October 5th, 1998, episode 324. And Eddie since Starrcade 98, episode 337.
I didn't realize how long it's been since we've seen Eddie.
Yeah, it's been a while. And you might notice that Konnan was part of the build-up to this match, but he's nowhere to be found. It's because
he's a dickhead.
He got a concussion
Oh.
during one of those matches, and so wasn't able to fly.
He's not there to say "Viva la Raza."
Exactly.
Which
But
I'm sure would have went over really well in Sturgis.
Yeah, exactly. And the Deadpool is attacked as soon as the bell rings, throwing ICP out of the ring and allowing Billy and Guerrero to hit a double-team clothesline to the Canadian Vampire, followed by a flash leg drop from Ray. Eddie with a snap suplex, a ride-on bomb from Kidman before Guerrero springboards in with a senton, and Mysterio springboards in with a leg drop. Vampiro's tossed outside where Billy nails some shots, followed by rolling him in for Eddie to hit a leg lariat and a monkey flip. But the Canadian Vampire responds with an enziguri, chops, and sending his opponent to the floor, where ICP beats him down. Guerrero's rolled back in where Violent J nails a clothesline and a jawbreaker, before Shaggy suplexes and elbow drops him. And Vampiro returns only for Eddie to fire up with a springboard head scissors, but Jay cuts off the tag to keep him in the corner, where the Canadian Vampire delivers a chokeslam for a 2 count. ICP hits a double-team vertical suplex, with Shaggy heading up top afterwards, only for Guerrero to hit the ropes, causing the clown to crotch himself and allowing Eddie to nail a superplex and make the crawl for the
hot tag.
Ray with a springboard Thez press and a quabrata to Violent J, but has his whip reversed when Raven trips up Mysterio, dragging him to the floor and tossing Ray into the steel steps, followed by Vampiro delivering a nail in the coffin to turn the tide. Now back inside, Violent J with a side slam, stomps, and an elbow drop for a 2 count, before a knee crusher and bringing the Canadian Vampire back for a release powerbomb. Shaggy power slams Ray for a near fall, hits a clothesline, and sends his opponent to a corner, charging in afterward, but runs into a boot and a split-legged moonsault, allowing Mysterio to make the crawl for the hot tag. Kidman with drop kicks to ICP. Vampiro runs into a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker from Guerrero and a Rough Rider from Ray to Violent J. And Eddie goes for a plancha to the Canadian Vampire, only from Vampiro to avoid, getting back into the ring to deliver a super kick. But he hits Shaggy by mistake, followed by a shooting star press from Kidman for the pin and the win.
ICP were not as awful as I expected.
No, they were much better than the last time we saw them.
Yeah, they're much older now, and I don't know how long they've done it, but they have JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, which I've never watched, but I do know that it is.
I think that happens.
It still goes on. There's a comic I'm aware of who is one of their announcers. Zach Amico. Very good joke writer, awful person to look at.
But also, last time we saw ICP, they were in the ring with the Oddities.
Yeah.
And this match, they're in the ring with
people that
3 really good wrestlers. So
yeah, and Vampiro's not terrible. He's just not as good as Ray or Eddie or Kidman. Yeah. He's also much bigger than them, so he's not as agile. But these guys don't want to look bad because they're all pretty over, and they're going to make sure ICP don't look like shit because These guys respect wrestling, and in a company that has no interest in them, they need to stay relevant. But who knows how true that is because they're still wrestling before Ernest the Cat Miller, so what the fuck do I know?
Tony then sends it to a video package over our next match, where we see the Triad beating down Booker T, which brings Stevie Ray out to save his brother. Joining together again is Harlem Heat to score a non-title victory over their rival. DDP, Bam Bam, and Kanyon would then jump the brothers and spray paint the Triad symbol on them. Who do we think we are? The NWO?
Yeah, I know, it's a little... What was the Triad symbol even?
A triangle with like a circle-looking thing in the middle for an eyeball or something like that.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. But he's like, yeah, we can't do the biggest angle this company's ever had.
But that takes us to our second match, the Jersey Triad of Bam Bam Bigelow and Chris Kanyon versus Harlem Heat of Booker T and Stevie Ray for the WCW World Tag Team Championships. And the champions came out first. Foreshadowing. But also to get heat on the mic, as we know how much Sturgis loves Harlem Heat.
Yeah.
And everyone brawls to begin, with Kanyon being dumped to the outside, allowing Harlem Heat to double-team Bigelow with a clothesline and a Harlem sidekick. And the champs regroup on the outside before Chris makes his way in to hammer away on Stevie, when a whip is reversed, leading to Kanyon being press slammed, followed by Bam Bam jumping in to be body slammed as well. The Triad again regroups on the floor, only to return to Booker stomping away and working the arm of Chris, but he escapes with an elbow drop and chokes. Kanyon keeps up the attack with right hands and a shoulder block, only for Booker T to answer back with a drop kick. And both teams make tags and do some stalling before locking up for headlocks, shoulder blocks, and clotheslines, only for Bigelow to respond with a headbutt to take control, tagging Chris in for a snapmare, multiple elbow drops, and more choking. Bam Bam returns to whip Kanyon in for a corner clothesline, followed by a corner splash from Bigelow, before grabbing a chinlock to wear down Stevie Ray. Chris is tagged in for a knee drop and a leverage pin attempt that only gets a 2 count, when Stevie fights back, but he misses an elbow drop, only to then slingshot Kanyon into his corner to knock down Bam Bam, who had climbed to the top, causing him to crouch himself.
My Bigelows.
Stevie Ray then makes the crawl for the hot tag, with Booker nailing a leaping forearm and spin kick to Chris for a near fall. Sets up for the axe kick, but Bigelow low bridges the ropes, causing Booker T to crash to the floor. Bam Bam then runs Booker into the railing and steel steps before rolling him in for Kanyon to deliver a top rope rocker dropper for a near fall. He tries for a second one, only for Booker T to counter it into a powerbomb and make the crawl for the hot tag. Stevie hammers away on the champs when DDP would run down, getting on the apron. But Bigelow is whipped into him, knocking him down to the floor. Booker then flies in with a missile dropkick, with Stevie Ray making the cover for the pin and the win. And new! And this would be Harlem Heat's 8th tag team title reign, passing the Minnesota Wrecking Crew and Steiner brothers for most WCW tag title reigns in history.
Granted, I mean, I like Harlem Heat, but WCW used to be, and like JCP used to be way more tag-oriented programs, so people would hold belts for longer, and there was more tag teams and blah, blah, blah. But
I mean, out of the 8 times, I think this is only like the second or third time we've actually seen them win. Most of the time we just see them lose the belts.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, and a lot of the time it's like, oh, they beat Public Enemy again. Like I said, not taking anything away from them, but as much as I like Harlem Heat, I don't know that we can put them directly underneath the Minnesota Wrecking Crew and the Steiner brothers in the history of tag teams in WCW. That's all I'm saying. Or in JCP, WCW, extended universe or whatever. And I'm not just saying that because I go to Sturgis every year.
Tony then sends it to a video package over our next match, where we see Curt Hennig insulting Perry Saturn, comparing him to Uranus.
So clever.
But it was a distraction, as Bobby Duncum would jump him from behind, only for Saturn to fend him off and deliver a Death Valley driver. Call Curt a stupid redneck, which brings Hennig back to the ring, along with all the other rednecks, to attack and hog-tie Perry, until Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko could make a save. But that takes us to our third match, the West Texas Rednecks of Curt Hennig, Bobby Duncum Jr., and Barry Windham, with Kendall Windham, versus the Revolution of Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Shane Douglas.
What a team. What a great three guys.
So the story behind this match was that Benoit and Perry were at odds with the Rednecks in the tag team scene, needing some help, which arrived in the form of Shane, who vowed to rid WCW of its cancer, including Flair, the Triad, and the Rednecks.
If only that could be true.
But the last time we saw Shane Douglas was at Living Dangerously 99, episode 353.
And we've missed him every episode since.
And after both teams arrive, Saturn takes the mic to address the Rednecks, saying the Revolution isn't WCW's answer to the Mystery Men. We don't care about Cowboys and Chad Brock, who was a country singer that had shown up and
saying rap is crap or something.
Their only goal is to set things straight, calling them ladies and telling them to get someone in here to start this match. And everybody gets in the ring and they start brawling, with the Revolution cleaning house. When Barry would make his way in to start the match officially with Malenko, only to be arm dragged and clotheslined. Perry enters for a double team back elbow and to work a headlock before bringing Douglas in, who gets caught in the wrong corner, allowing the Rednecks to take control with a big boot, but Duncum runs into a power slam. Saturn returns to kick away, only to telegraph his move, leading to being stomped down, with Bobby tagging in Windham, who immediately gets dropped with a pair of suplexes. Barry reverses a whip, which sends Perry to the ropes, where Kendall hits him in the back with a cowbell, allowing Windham to nail a leaping clothesline. Hennig with chops and a rolling neck snap. Duncum tosses Saturn outside to team up with Kendall to hammer away. But Perry answers back with a German suplex, a drop kick, and a vertical suplex from Malenko. Perry answers back with a German suplex before Malenko hits a drop kick and a vertical suplex, followed by a drop toe hold elbow drop combo with Shane for a 2 count. Turnbuckle smashes and an attempted Pittsburgh plunge, only for Curt to make the save, with Bobby sending his opponent to the outside, where the Rednecks pound away, until Douglas fights back to crotch Hennig on the ring post.
Ooh.
Shane rolls him back in and climbs to the top, but the Rednecks trip him up, allowing Curt to press slam Douglas down to the mat, before Barry comes in with a suplex and a clothesline to get near falls. And Windham continues the punishment with mounted punches and another clothesline for a 2 count. Tags in Duncum to deliver a shoulder breaker for a near fall. Kendall gets involved again with chokes with the rope as Hennig keeps up the attack with chops. Bobby returns for a kick to the gut and a snap suplex for a 2 count. Barry tags in to hit a DDT for a near fall when both men nail clotheslines for the double KO, as Windham tags out to Duncum to deliver a corner clothesline. He tries for another, only to run into a big boot from Shane, allowing him to make the crawl for the hot tag. Saturn jumps in with right hands and a clothesline to Bobby and Curt, when Barry would club him from behind, leading to all 6 men brawling once again. Perry's tossed to the outside by Windham, Dean with a drop kick to Hennig, and locks on the cloverleaf, as Douglas back body drops Barry out of the ring, when Kendall would jump in to nail Malenko with the cowbell.
Boo.
Shane then clotheslines Kendall to the floor, while Saturn runs back in to deliver the Death Valley driver to Duncum for the pin and the win. Post-match, the brawl continues, but the Revolution clears the ring again, with Perry swiping one of the cowboy hats and stomping on it inside the ring. And some sad news here for you. This is the last time we will see Bobby Duncum Jr. as he would pass away in January from an overdose.
I mean, this is like a little over halfway through the year, so I guess they just kind of toss him off of TV. He's been featured.
I think he actually gets hurt at some point on a house show. So the Rednecks aren't done. We'll see them a couple more times, I believe. But Duncum gets hurt, so he's not with them.
Which obviously, if you're hurt, facilitates a drug overdose. If you're a wrestler in a time period where you can get what you want to get through what you got. I must point out, Shane Douglas has been bulking.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely much, much bigger.
He looks puffy. He's a much thicker boy. But I do like this combination of three guys. Yeah. It's like they're all Saturn's definitely the most explosive. Of course, that's why he should have got the hot tag.
And Benoit is part of the group as well.
Yeah, it's a great group.
But he has a singles match later, so he wasn't down there for this one. But we go to our fourth match. Ernest, the Cat Miller.
Boo.
With Sonny Onoo versus Buff Bagwell.
Boo.
The story behind this match was the Cat took exception to Buff boxing and dancing. That there was only room for one combat sports master and fine dancer. Miller would even insult Bagwell's mother, Judy, leading to a confrontation. But Ernest would nail him with the red slipper of death. The next week, Buff would mock the Cat in a parody skit, only for Miller to admonish him for doing blackface. But it didn't stop Bagwell, as he would replace the red shoes with bunny slippers before a match, humiliating Ernest.
What is it, 1986?
No, that's 1999.
1986 in the WWF, that is. We're not doing this in 1986 in JCP.
We might.
Well, we might be. That's true.
Might.
There's that real weird era towards the end of that moves into WCW, where we're just doing kind of the goofiest shit on the planet.
Yeah. So Onoo and the Cat wear biker gear and Confederate flag gloves to the ring, insulting the crowd by telling them to turn off their mini bikes, or he would whoop every stupid redneck in the crowd. With Heenan chiming in, he'd be there for a while.
Yeah, that's true. There's at least 5,000 around the ring, and then there's the whole rest of the town, which is only bike riding rednecks.
Buff would then come out and take the mic, only for Miller to continuously interrupt him. So Bagwell finally just tells Ernest to kiss his ass. And our competitors lock up with the Cat hitting a hip toss and body slam, celebrating after each move, bringing the crowd to chant, "Pussycat."
It's moderately innocent for a Sturgis crowd.
And Buff blocks another hip toss attempt to deliver one of his own, along with a pair of scoop slams and a clothesline, doing a little dance of his own as Miller bails to the outside. Back in, Ernest with strikes and chokes, when Bagwell would float over a slam attempt to nail a pair of drop kicks and mounted punches, until the Cat goes low to stop the rally. Miller hits a super kick and taunts some more, as Sonny gets involved with chokes on the ropes, followed by Ernest doing more choking and kicks. And Buff is taken to the mat by a chin lock, but he escapes with elbows, only for a rake to the eyes to allow the Cat to attempt a suplex. But Bagwell reverses for one of his own, before delivering an atomic drop, Manhattan drop, and a crossbody for a 2 count. And Miller slows the momentum with a jawbreaker as Onoo climbs to the apron with his briefcase, only for Buff to reverse the whip, which sends Ernest into his manager, causing them to knock and allowing Bagwell to roll up the Cat for the pin and the win. Post-match, Miller attacks the celebrating Buff with strikes and chokes as Sonny mocks Bagwell's dance, even removing his vest to show off his non-muscles.
Yeah, this absolutely happened. It's just funny that, like, they're spending so much time talking up Buff Bagwell and, like, as a star or whatever, because they have nothing else to talk about. But he's in a match with Ernest the Cat Miller, and it's, like, way too deep on the card. And I think it's just because they're, I guess, trying to make Buff a thing. I don't know. I just don't
They were
understand.
trying to make Buff a thing and put him in there with Roddy Piper, and then they pushed him all the way down to with Ernest the Cat Miller. So
yeah, I just don't understand why we're using Ernest the Cat Miller at all outside of a first or second match. There's got to be people in the fucking...
So I think that WCW actually kind of learned a lesson finally about going to Sturgis, because they put 3 tag matches at the beginning of the show when it was the hottest outside because the sun is still up.
Oh, get Matt with a big brain.
So they were not to have people out there doing singles matches basically in the absolute heat of the day.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
That's my only explanation or thought process about that.
It makes sense. My only argument is that I don't know that anybody in WCW is intelligent enough to decide that. But that just might me being a hater and just, learning from the trends that we've seen over the last few years.
Because, my read-through of that doesn't just do justice to how much stalling they did in that match.
Yeah.
Because,
this is barely a wrestling match.
It was barely a wrestling match to begin with. Because, once again, they're out in the sun. The sun hasn't started going down completely yet at this point.
It's still bright out.
Yeah. Tony then sends it to a video package over our next match, where we see DDP attack Benoit, taunting him by saying he ain't got it. But the Crippler responds he has a lot more than Page. So DDP answers back with Yo Mama jokes. Benoit would deliver a flying headbutt, only for Page to have placed the title in the landing zone, leading to DDP winning the match. But the Crippler would then go on to defeat David Flair for the United States title and challenges Page to a rematch. So it takes us to our 5th match. Diamond Dallas Page versus Chris Benoit for the WCW United States Championship in a no DQ match.
This is our rubber match, right?
Is
this the 3rd one?
We haven't seen them, but they've been feuding on TV. Yeah. And DDP takes the mic to sing his own praises, apologizing for his comments about his opponent's mom, saying the Crippler loves his mother, but so can anybody for $2.99 a minute.
Ooh.
As Shivani exclaims, "You guys got that number?"
You little creep.
Benoit then hammers away to start, but a reversed whip leads to Page attempting a powerbomb, only for the Crippler to block with rabbit punches. DDP rolls out to regroup, so Benoit baseball slides his opponent off the platform, where Page catches the Crippler leaping off into an atomic drop and running him into the railing. And they head back in where Benoit gets the first strike in, only for a reversed whip to lead to a belly-to-belly suplex for a 2 count by DDP, followed by a rear chin lock, pouncing on the back, and a fireman's carry slam for a near fall. Page keeps up the attack with a gut-wrench gutbuster,
Sick.
stomps and knees to the gut, when the Crippler would sidestep to cradle up his opponent for a 2 count, but DDP reverses it into his own pin attempt for a near fall. A lariat and a spine buster puts Benoit down for a 2 count before the two fight over a pin attempt, which the Crippler counters into a sunset flip for a near fall. Another lariat lays out Benoit for a 2 count, which causes Page to argue with the ref, followed by returning to pound away and nail a side slam for a near fall. DDP picks up his opponent, only for the Crippler to flip free and go for a backslide, which is blocked. So he does a reverse standing switch to hit a jawbreaker and head up top. But Page knocks him down into a tree of woe.
Whoa. Might be one of the nastiest and more convincing jawbreakers I've seen in a while. But it's DDP and Chris Benoit.
Yeah. DDP then steals the ref's belt for some whipping action until Benoit escapes, only for Page to turn to choking with the belt, including hanging him over his shoulder. When the Crippler would flip over, steal away the weapon, and do some whipping of his own. Benoit would then deliver a trio of bridging German suplexes for 2 counts. Heads up top again when Kanyon would run out to shove him off, right into a Uranagi for a near fall, as the rest of the Revolution looked on from the back. Kanyon's on the apron when the Crippler would reverse a whip to send the Triad members into each other, before a roll-up gets a 2 count, only for DDP to answer back with a clothesline for a near fall. Bam Bam now comes out to fly off the top with a splash for the pin. And no, Benoit kicks out. And the Triad's triple teaming the Crippler as Kanyon holds him, while Page whips Bigelow towards them. But Benoit moves in time, sending all 3 Triad members to knock noggins, causing DDP to go down, followed by Bam Bam falling headfirst into his diamonds. Oof. The Crippler would then climb up the turnbuckle to nail a flying headbutt for the pin and the win. So he fended off all 3 Triad members by himself.
Pretty impressive. Pretty cool. Good for him. Nice to see a wrestling match after that last thing. They say this on commentary, I think pretty early into the match, but DDP was in a movie called The First Daughter.
I think it's a TV movie that's going to be airing on TNT probably on the Tuesday after this show. Okay. I think.
I was just curious because I was like, I've never heard of this.
I think he's the bodyguard or Secret Service for like the president's daughter.
Yeah. I assumed the premise when with just the name of the movie, but I was just like, what is this?
I think I remember watching it back in the day. I don't remember anything about it though.
No,
so.
I'm sure it was true junk. It's just weird because I can't think of DDP doing any acting outside of Ready to Rumble, where he's just playing himself.
Yep. The announcers then discussed the remaining card of the show before sending it to Chad Diamini for a motorcycle giveaway. And Chad's standing in front of a tumbler saying American Iron Horse has provided the bike for this contest, followed by having one of the ladies roll the tumbler, only for the door to be stuck at first. Diamini would fiddle with it to get it open and grab an envelope to hand to Tim Edmonton, the president of American Iron Horse, who announces Darnell Potter of Cleveland, Ohio as the winner. And Bobby actually starts losing it as he thought they said Darnell Squatter, while Chad thanks American Iron Horse for their support.
And we gave away a motorcycle. At least it seems legit.
Yep. I got a fun story about Diamini, or however you say his name. He was basically the backup hotline host. So anytime, and like WCW on the hotline would have wrestlers like record messages. Yeah. Okay. But anytime one of the talents forgot to record a message, they'd basically be like, "Hey Chad, do it," and he would make $200. And he like literally was telling the story, and he's like, I literally make $200 a day, easy, because the talents always forgot to call in.
So he's at least one person forgot, or was he getting 200 a person?
He said $200 a day.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that meant like one person forgot to call in, or if multiple people did.
Was he doing an impression of them?
I didn't gather that. It just sounded like he
was like basically doing a news type thing, but like about whatever they were supposed to say.
Yeah. Tony then sends it to a video package over our next match, where we see Goldberg be attacked by Sid and Rick Steiner in the back, causing Sting to rush to the back, only to be beaten down as well. The 4 men would have a tag match when Vicious says no one will remember Sting after he's done, calling himself the Millennium Man. Is this the answer to Y2J?
I think they just are like, oh, Sid seems like he's excited about wrestling right now, so let's give him a name.
Yeah.
I'm pro Sid when Sid wants to wrestle.
Yeah. That takes us to our 6th match, Sid Vicious versus Sting. Since the last time we saw the Stinger, he had defeated Flair to become the new president of WCW.
I roll.
But he had turned his power over to J.J. Dillon and Dusty Rhodes, the head of the competition committee. We have no true on-screen president of WCW anymore.
Which is probably how it should be right now, because that whole experiment failed, and you can listen back how we shit all over it and blah, blah, blah.
Yes. But Vicious stalls on the outside for a bit, but once in the ring, Sting is whipped to a corner, only to avoid the charge in and take control with kicks and a pair of Stinger splashes, before a clothesline sends Sid out to the floor. Sting gives chase to run his opponent into the railing and out into the crowd momentarily, followed by a double axe handle off the platform. And they head back inside where the Stinger goes for another splash, but Vicious avoids this time, allowing Sid to club away and nail a power slam for a 2 count. Vicious continues the punishment with chokes, a running straddle, backbreaker, and a chin lock to wear down his opponent, only for Sting to rally to his feet. But Sid sends the Stinger to a corner and delivers a clothesline to maintain control. Vicious throws Sting outside and, dropping him on the guardrail, rolls the Stinger back inside for another chin lock, with Sting making the comeback with chops, only for the two to knock noggins, causing Stinger to bounce off the ropes into a headbutt of Sid's Sex Pistol. Vicious is up first and he heads up top, but Sting meets him there to press slam his opponent down, goes to run the ropes, only for Sid to trip him up. And the two men trade strikes once back to their feet, with the Stinger body slamming Vicious. Attempts a running splash, but Sid gets his knees up and rolls on top for a near fall. Vicious with a hot shot onto the turnbuckle and goes for a big right hand, but Sting fights back, only to run into a big boot. And Sid heads up top again when the Stinger meets him there with right hands and a superplex, before a pair of Stinger splashes. Sting goes for a third one, but Vicious catches him by the throat to nail a chokeslam for the pin and the win. Post-match, Sid looks at the camera, saying it's one more for the record books, telling everyone to be careful or they are next.
Sting, always disrespected, but kind of surprised by the Sid Vicious win, because I just don't have faith that they're going to continue to push Sid, because we know how Sid has been used in the last decade.
Well, they were talking like Sid's going to go for Goldberg's record. Like, that's what the announcers were like talking about during the match.
Which made me feel like, it's like, are you telling me that like Goldberg's injured and you're just trying to like replace him? But it's like, no, Goldberg is, I believe, in the next match.
Yeah.
So like, what are we doing? Comparing these guys?
Probably just trying to build Sid up to.
Yeah. I mean, him beating Sting is going to build him no matter what. So we don't need to compare him to Goldberg.
Tony then sends it to a video package over our next match, where we see Goldberg return to make the save for Sting and Hogan, press slamming Rick Steiner and causing the dog-faced gremlin to tell Bill to not stick his nose in his business, vowing to take Goldberg's head off if it happened again. And Rick and Vicious would attack Bill with a chair and a shovel, but Goldberg came back for more, telling Steiner to bring his ass to Sturgis for a fight.
How much is Rick going to sell?
We'll find out as we head to our 7th match, Rick Steiner versus Goldberg. And we get a slugfest to start when Bill delivers a clothesline, only for Steiner to answer back with a shoulder block. Goldberg's sent to a corner, but Rick walks into a thrust kick, sending him bailing to the floor to regroup. And Steiner comes back in and shoves the ref into Bill, allowing him to kick low and take the knee brace off of his opponent, using it as a weapon, even choking Goldberg with it.
Yeah, and he like puts his arm through it and uses it to punch.
Rick even hits an brace-aided Steiner line, hammering away, taunting the crowd and dropping several elbows, followed by a belly-to-belly for a 2 count. And Rick uses the brace again to whack Bill in the head, along with a DDT for a near fall, only for Goldberg to fire up with right hands, press power slam, spear, and a jackhammer for the pin and the win.
So that's how he got around selling. He's like, all right, let me beat you up with your knee brace for a while and then just do your 3 moves.
Yep. That would be how that goes.
Yep. Smart but very obvious.
Tony then sends it to a video package over our next match, where we see Dennis Rodman attack Randy Savage as Arliss sits on commentary, wanting to see that match.
Arliss?
Do you remember the HBO show Arliss with Robert Wool?
I'm aware of it. I've never watched it.
So Robert Wool played a sports agent.
Yeah.
On this TV show. Savage had actually guest starred on the TV show. And so now they brought in Arliss. They never said he was Robert Wool. They kept saying Arliss. He was there to scout Dennis Rodman to be his next client.
Oh.
The Worm would also kidnap Gorgeous George, causing Macho Man to go crazy looking for her, before telling Rodman to get his punk ass to Sturgis. And Savage says he wouldn't bring George with him, but he will invite the mysterious Hummer driver.
I know. I was like, are we going to... Wait, what? Who was driving the Hummer? We've been dying to find out who was driving the Hummer. We've talked about it in every WCW episode for the last, I don't know, month and a half at least.
At least the last couple episodes, yeah. That takes us to our 8th match. Dennis Rodman versus Macho Man Randy Savage. Last time we saw Rodman was at Bash at the Beach 98, episode 312. Been about a year or so.
I mean, he is a professional basketball player. He is yet to retire at this point. It's a miracle he's doing any of this at all. If I was his agent or he was playing for my team, I would be incredibly pissed that he was doing this because we're paying you millions of dollars and if you get injured, we're fucked. We need those rebounds, Worm.
But hey, Rodman is now a WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So it worked out for him.
He's friends with Kim Jong-il or Un or Quattro at this point. Who knows which one it is.
We also might notice that there is no Team Madness
out here. Macho came Savage out alone as... I was like, George...
Obviously, he said George he was going to leave George at home.
Yeah.
But Miss Madness and Medusa, the last time we saw them, they got into a fight outside the ring.
Yeah.
So they weren't getting along. So he had fired them from Team Madness. They were actually supposed to have a match on this show, but it got pulled. I don't know if that match ever happens.
Or if it was true, or they were actually mad at each other. I mean, there was that...
Well, I mean, I'm sure it was all in...
Yeah, there was that match...
Restarting the women's division type thing is what it was supposed to be.
They're always trying to do it. I remember that last match with the Madness team, and I don't remember if it was Miss Madness... I think it was Miss Madness. Took a real wild shot, and Medusa was helping her. So I was like, oh, maybe it's injury, but I'm sure she was fine.
So our two competitors trade pleasantries as Dennis says, "Where's my bitch at?" Only for Macho to respond that Rodman was his bitch tonight, but the fans can have the sloppy seconds.
Gross.
Dennis replies he does his shit outside, jumping Savage and pulling him to the floor for a fight, running him into the ring post, railing and light truss, before rolling him inside for a back elbow, a short arm clothesline, and a side Russian leg sweep for a 2 count. And Rodman starts arguing with the ref, knocking Billy Silverman down, dropping an elbow on him.
Ref bump.
Which brings Mickey J down to take his place, as Macho gouges the eyes and chokes his opponent. Savage rolls out to the floor and knocks out Ross Furman, the editor of WCW magazine, who was there to take pictures, stealing his camera to use as a weapon for a near fall. Macho then gets mad at the new ref and knocks him out.
Ref bump.
Throwing him to the floor, so Scott Dickinson comes down, only to be taken out as well.
Can we get a third ref bump?
And Savage charges at Dennis, who back body drops his opponent over the ropes as Johnny Boone has now come down to be the 4th ref of the match. While Macho drags Rodman outside, running him into the guardrail as they head up the rampway, until Dennis hip tosses Savage down the backstage ramp. Rodman's then thrown into garbage before Macho yanks some guy out of a porta potty, placing Dennis in it to tip over.
Yeah, it tips over like a 45-degree angle, and I hope that it's not full of piss, but a bunch of gross liquid coming out of the bottom of it. It's pretty gross. And it falls into the recent Macho Man poop angle. Yeah. I don't know what was going on here.
Savage then goes to run Rodman into the side of a truck, but he's shoved off, which sends Macho into it instead, before they make their way back to ringside, where Savage hits a running double axe handle on the ramp, but he's shoved into the light truss once more. Macho's rolled in with Dennis heading up top, where he comes off with a flying clothesline, only for Savage to duck, causing the ref to be wiped out.
Is this our 4th or 5th ref bump?
It's our 4th.
4th.
Both men make it to their feet with Rodman locking on a sleeper, only for Macho to escape with a jawbreaker. When Gorgeous George comes out, giving her man a chain to wrap around his fist, as our fifth ref, Nick Patrick, has come out. George delivers a low blow to Dennis before leaving the ring, with Savage using his fist to land a blow for the pin and the win. The only thing I really have to say about this match is Savage required Gorgeous George and a chain-filled fist to defeat
the Worm,
Dennis Rodman.
And I get that they were like, okay, how do we make this longer than 3 minutes? 5 ref bumps. But they did enough like walking brawl that I don't think they needed that many ref bumps.
Yeah, the ref bumps made not a whole lot of sense.
It became comical. Yeah. I can get 2, maybe. Because like when they went up the stage, I thought that going off the side ramp was cool.
Yeah.
The porta potty was kind of gross and silly, but like we've talked about how Rodman is one of the least good of the in-ring professionals that show up more than once, kind of thing, like professional athletes. Like, where is it Malone we were impressed by?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Malone's a fucking Colorado hillbilly. He probably loves wrestling.
Tony then sends it to a video package over our main event.
If he has to.
Which just so happens to be the same video that they showed at the very beginning of the show. So that takes us right to our 9th match. Kevin Nash versus Hulk Hogan in a retirement match.
Greer versus Greer.
For the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Is this just like trying to right the finger poke?
I mean, that was the purpose of the match being made.
Yeah, but whether they do that or not, we'll talk about shortly.
So Michael Buffer makes our announcement. So let's get ready.
They don't even like, when they first started this, they're like, we all like motorcycles, so let's go to Sturgis and we'll just party on, Uncle Ted's dime. By the way, I don't know if I want to say rest in peace, Ted Turner, but he did a lot of things that people cared about or shaped them. But they used to make it a thing where it's like, yeah, we all rode our bikes up here. Like, we're motorcycle guys too. And now we're just in Sturgis.
Yeah.
Like, as dumb and lame and it was like a vanity project it was for him to come here, it was kind of cool to see those videos of like Rick Steiner and
all those guys,
Kevin Nash, and all those guys just like riding motorcycles. It was just fun, and it kind of added something to it.
It's one of those things like, if, they'd just gone there once, it would have been like this kind of unique thing. But now they've gone here 4 times, and
it's bleeding money too.
None of the matches are good.
Yeah,
none of the shows are good.
None of the shows are good, and they're bleeding money because they're getting there and then
just giving you tickets away for free for a month.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you need a ticket. You just need to be at Sturgis. Yeah. Like, they're just standing around the ring in like the foothills of a mountain.
Yeah,
it's just so silly.
Tenay mentions that it was Hulk's son, Nick, that had convinced him to bring back the red and yellow, with the brain saying, that was his kid? I thought he was a midget.
You know what made Hulk bring back the red and yellow is that they completely exasperated the concept of Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to get ratings because they're doing half the ratings that WWF is at the moment. If you listen to last week, WCW Nitro was a 3.1, and WWF Raw was a 6.4. 3.1, still great, but if...
I mean, most shows would kill for a 3.1 right now.
I mean, right now, anybody would... Yeah. Jimmy Fallon would shoot his mother for a 3.1. But, like, yeah, it's just not the way television works anymore. 3.1, still big back then, but it's just how big wrestling is.
Yeah. So our 2 competitors lock up, shoving each other into corners before Nash grabs a long headlock, which Hogan escapes with a back suplex that sends Kevin rolling out to regroup. Now back in, we get a test of strength.
Kevin's the one that teases it. Hogan waits for the cheers, looking around. Back to his
superhero days.
Yeah, superhero days. Good for him.
Nash wins the exchange, hitting a knee to the gut once Hulk shows some signs of life, and taking the fight to the corner for elbows, right hands, more knees, and chokes.
The Kevin Nash corner knee strike might be my least favorite thing in wrestling, outside of Ernest the Cat Miller being on a match that's not the first two.
Kevin measures his opponent up for the big back elbow, only for Hogan to avoid and take control with right hands and eye pokes, until Nash returns the eye rake to change the momentum. Strikes, a side slam, and a boot choke from Kevin. He throws Hulk out to the floor to ram him into the lighting rig, followed by rolling him back in for a pair of running straddles.
Where Hogan is got the lightest of blade jobs I've ever seen in any wrestling match, I think. He has like a couple of like smears of red in his like hair and forehead. Yeah, he may as well scratch himself with his fingernail. That's how much he's bleeding.
And Nash keeps up the attack with more corner strikes, nails a big boot and a jackknife powerbomb for the pin. And no, it's Hulk up time.
I would say poor Nash, but I think Nash fucking stinks, so whatever. Both these guys stink.
Finger point, right hands, big boot, and the leg drop for the pin and the win, forcing Big Sexy to retire.
But does he really? I guess we'll talk about it.
Post-match, Hogan celebrates as fireworks explode. As Tony says, Hulkamania lives again.
As Tony lies and says, Hulkamania lives again.
Before saying his goodbyes, and we fade to black. So I ask you, Michael, what are your overall thoughts of Road Wild 1999?
My biggest issue, because I think that most of the matches weren't terrible, is that I just feel so distant to any of the storylines or being invested in any of the things happening in the company that it's hard for me to enjoy it unless it's truly a good wrestling match, which is a high and rare bar. There might be some fun stuff, but like, as far as like good, because WWF can get away with a lot because everyone's got personality and their story, and it's just a better produced show. It flows better. They're better at informing you of what's going on and making it feel like it means something. But yeah,
I mean, there's only one match on the show that I outright hated, so that's an improvement.
Is it the Buff Bagwell match?
It is.
Okay.
The biggest thing is that, once again, you shouldn't run an outside show in August, as it just causes lackluster performances.
Yeah, and we're gonna get lackluster performances from a lot of the top of the card, because it's like Sid, how long of a match does he work? Goldberg, how long of a match does he work? Hogan, Nash, how long of a match do they work? Yeah. It's like, I don't know how much it would have changed if they were inside, based on the talent.
We probably still would have gotten from like the Sid Sting match to the end of the show. Like, all those matches are the complete same.
Yeah, for sure.
Inside an arena or there.
Outside, yeah.
I mean, Rodman and Savage were the only ones that really used the outside at all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they still could have done something in an arena. Like, they could have brawled up the stairs to the concourse.
It's just not an interesting venue, no matter what you do. So it's kind of less interesting to go outside because there's less to do. You can't go into the crowd because there's motorcycles everywhere.
I mean, you don't want to do too much outside because it's a platform, so you don't want anyone to get hurt.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing is
they did the only spot they could, which was the side ramp, and I thought that spot was actually cool.
Yeah. I mean, I do think this is probably the best of the 4 Road Wilds, which is a very low bar, so it's
hard for me to even like rank them or recall them enough to rank them.
I mean, if you like Jay Leno, then you liked last year's, which if you like Jay Leno...
That was last year's?
That was last year's.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was at least funny. Or I'll take something that's like stupid and funny over the Cat and Bagwell.
And I mean, I'm not going to lie. Back in 1999, when I was watching WCW, and I wasn't jaded to Hogan.
Yeah.
Him showing back up in the red and yellow.
And the crowd was into it.
It popped me.
Yeah.
At that point,
I understand it for sure.
I mean, this is all looking back at it and knowing more about Hogan.
And also just us watching it, we started at the first Starrcade and we've just watched things progress. So you just have more context for it. And it doesn't help that you kind of have an idea where it goes, but you understand more of the behind the scenes politics as opposed to jumping into wrestling in, 97 and just kind of picking up from there. And it's not like there's the YouTube documentaries and actual documentaries and internet lore. It's like you'd have to be a real nerd to actually dig into that stuff. It wasn't just available knowledge, readily available knowledge.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I really liked the Benoit match, I guess.
I mean, that's the best match on the show.
I mean, for sure. And believe it or not, I got some juice out of the Sid and Sting match. I
didn't hate it by any means.
Yeah, so. That one was one of the few that I kind of got into.
I mean, our Eddie, Kidman, and Ray delivered. They made ICP look good.
Yeah, they made chicken shit into chicken salad, but they didn't raise it up so high that it's like they did a great job, but it's like they can only do so much with their opponents.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see the talent of those guys and what they were able to do with the lack of talent on the other side of the ring, but it did not make for a memorable or a match you would tell somebody to check out.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's the same way with the Revolution. Love all those guys, and even though there were some messy parts in that match with the Rednecks, but a lot of that's just because they let Bobby Duncum run a bunch of the.
Yeah, you're also dealing
most
with
of the work in that match.
You're also dealing with three guys that are big. Curt Hennig, who probably should have already quit wrestling, even though he was once a great wrestler.
Yeah,
his heart's not into it, and he's not going to go out there, and he should. In a perfect world, he's on the other side of, pun intended, he's on the other side of this team.
Yeah.
He's at one point was a guy of the caliber of your Saturn, Malenkos, and Douglas's and Benoit's, but he got hurt early and I think a little jaded to the career. And then Windham and Duncum are large guys that are it's just not a great match. And then especially to have outside. Yeah.
I'm like Goldberg killed Steiner just after Rick's attitude the last few months. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's
deserved. But I like the way he got away from having to sell, where he's like, let me just beat you down. I thought that was funny, especially considering how we talked about it recently.
And, I mean, I didn't like Savage and Rodman for knowing the limitations of Rodman. I thought the match was at least fun.
It was watchable, and it's one of those things where it's kind of the less wrestling moves Rodman does, the better.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but laugh at the ref bump insanity.
I mean, the ref bump insanity was...
It turned it into a comedy match, basically. But it was more entertaining than some of the better matches on the show.
Yeah. And it also brings the question, because Savage said he was leaving George at home, but he was bringing the Hummer driver.
Is it George the Hummer driver?
So is George the Hummer driver?
Or does Savage drive while she gives him a Hummer?
We have no clue. Like I said multiple episodes ago, we never really learned who the Hummer driver
I know.
was.
I was kind of excited because I remember you saying that, and it's not that I didn't trust you, but then Savage told me we might find out tonight. So,
how about most disappointing? It's Miller and Bagwell. It's the match that is the worst match on this show.
I can't call it disappointing because I expected it to suck, and then it sucked. So, I'm not mad at it or annoyed by it. And I
think those two guys could put together a match. They just
didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't think they had to because they didn't have to. They're in the middle of the card, and they were the piss break match in the middle of a card.
I guess so.
Disappointment. Rodman doesn't come out on a motorcycle. There's motorcycles everywhere. Dennis Rodman likes motorcycles. The cover was in the cover of his book in the 90s. him wearing a wedding dress on a motorcycle?
Probably. I think so.
And, like, nobody came out on a motorcycle? We're at Sturgis?
You know.
I'm just saying, like, if we're going to do it, fucking do it.
I mean, earlier I did mention why I think there was 3 tag matches early in the show.
Yeah, I didn't think of that at all, but it makes complete sense because...
But even in that vein, you could tell Bigelow and Stevie Ray were winded.
Blowed up.
Like, real early in that match from the heat. So, like, maybe we should have put that match a little bit later in the evening.
And I would say that it deserved to be much later in the evening because it was for a tag title and it changed hands, and it was before, if I'm not mistaken, it was before Cat and Bagwell.
Yeah, it was. But like I said,
I think it was the second match.
Yeah.
It's the tag belt.
Well, I think it's because we were trying to put the tag matches.
Yeah.
Because the tag matches should have helped all those groups preserve some energy.
Yeah.
Because they're tagging in and out.
But you didn't think about your big boys, and Ernest and Bagwell were just fine with the lack of match they had in any heat.
I mean, they could have had that match at any point on this card, yes. I agree. Best performer of the night? I mean, it's Benoit. He fended off the entire Triad.
It's Benoit, or it's definitely Benoit performance-wise, but I enjoyed Sid and Sting a lot. But Benoit's the better wrestler, and he had the best match on the show.
And most surprising, Shane Douglas arriving.
Yeah, it was Shane Douglas arriving, and
ICP,
and he got thick. I wasn't surprised by ICP. I was surprised that they were better than they weren't embarrassing.
Yeah, but yeah, Shane Douglas is definitely the most surprising thing because like really, I got to that match and I went, oh wait, Shane Douglas is here. I was like, sweet. I was like, I mean, I knew he was showing up at some point.
It would have been nice if it was.
I guess I didn't remember that literally when he shows up is when the revolution starts. Like, yeah, because they were a great group. Because obviously, I love all 4 of the people.
You know what the
that
biggest
are in that group.
Problem with the revolution is that if these guys are in a group, they can't have matches together, which would be the best matches on the card.
Well, maybe the revolution and
they won't last
Eddie
forever.
And Ray and Kidman and Conan can all have an 8-man tag at some point.
That's a great point. And
they're all faces though, so we know that won't happen. But
it's all right. You can turn either of those groups into heels pretty easily. I would imagine that it's the white guys, considering that everybody likes to cheer "Viva la Raza."
Yeah.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Turn the lights down, turn the projector on, because we're ready to rumble. This week the film we're covering is Ghost Catchers, released June 16th, 1944 by Universal Pictures. It was directed by Edward F. Klein and written by Edmund L. Hartman and Milt Gross, starring Ole Olsen, Chick Johnson, and Leo Corello. The plot is 2 zanies get mixed up with a Southern colonel, his beautiful daughters, a nightclub, and a haunted mansion.
This one sounds goofy.
Some trivia for this one is it uses the same animated beginning sequence as Hold That Ghost from 1941, starring Abbott and Costello.
So this is like a C movie.
Yeah. Diana Barrymore was originally slated to appear, but rejected the film after reading the script, leading to her contract with Universal to be canceled.
Oh, I imagine that she was a fading star and they gave her a dog shit movie and she said, I don't do dog shit.
Possible. Some reviews and ratings for this one. IMDb has it at a 5.5, while Letterboxd is at a 2.4. And I found this review from the New York Times in 1944 by
so funny.
TMP. And the boys have become less and less funny.
Is that the name of this comedy group? The Boys?
I don't remember what their comedy group was.
But that's what they're referring to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trouble would seem to be an excess of helter-skelter doings.
What does helter-skelter mean outside? I know it as as Charles Manson stuff. I don't know it as a term before that.
And my review of this film is, what is it with comedy duos and ghosts in the 40s? I was so confused by the first 20 minutes as our leading lady runs to a nightclub to get help, only to be bound to an electric chair as a musical number happens.
That sounds funny.
Later in the film, the group decides that the jitterbug will send the ghost running, which it seems like it does, only to then turn into a Scooby-Doo mystery with real people trying to scare our leading lady and her family out of the house, as a gangster wants all the liquor that's in the basement. The wrestler of this movie is Tor Johnson. This is our 9th time to see Tor, and he's playing Mug. He's one of the people in the basement helping carry out the liquor. I almost missed him as he just walks by with a box in hand. So I give this movie a 2.5 and a wrestler performance of 2.0.
Because he was just kind of there.
He was just kind of there.
You barely saw him.
Barely noticed him.
I will say, I assume that the 2 point... This seems interesting and potentially funny, but is it more confusing than it is?
I mean, literally the first 20 minutes of this movie, I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah. It sounds the right kind of stupid, but if it's... You still have to convey what's actually happening.
Yeah. But if this does sound interesting, it's out there on YouTube. It's literally like an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes long. It's not that long. So if it does sound interesting, go out there and check it out on YouTube.
Comedy double feature programmer from the 40s.
Yeah. Next week, we get to go to one of our favorite shows of the year, G1 Climax Final, 1999.
Thank God. I need a palate cleanser. We've been lacking the style of wrestling that we truly care about. Feels like too long. It doesn't help that we were just in Sturgis. But I'm ready to see
some hard-hitting boys.
Some hard-hitting boys doing actual wrestling moves. Lack of interference. Fingers crossed. I mean, New Japan they normally keep it to one match. One heel thing that it does that. It's not all over shows or whatever. So we get wrestling treated as a sport.
If you do follow along with the shows with us, and the entire show that we're going to watch is on New Japan World. It's just look up the G1 Climax 1999. It's the only show that's available, but it's literally 2 hours, and it's the entire final day of the tournament. So that's what we're going to be watching. And
there's a good chance it's on Internet Archive if you do some sleuthing, but who knows?
It might be.
I don't expect anybody out there to just sign up for New Japan World on a whim.
Oh, I expect our people to love Japan wrestling.
I mean, we hope that's the case. If only we started a show that only covered Japanese wrestling.
But music from this week's show is Red Zone by Lee Levin and Dan Warner, and Hulk Hogan won our main event.
Been a while since we've heard this one.
In the red and yellow, we play American Made by Jimmy Hart.
Say what you will about Hogan, the song fucking rips.
And if you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts at. If you're doing the YouTube thing, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We love all those comments that are coming through.
Yeah, it's fun to see.
And if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, you can always email us at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
Laters, brother.